some of these critics, these pundits.
Generally speaking, I'd be a fan of off the ball. Exactly. And like Tommy knows his football, obviously, listen to football pod the odd time.
And I was looking at the power rankings and I thought that Jesus Owen must still be feeling the effects of these mushrooms.
They just dismiss you like, you know, you have nothing to do with the bloody occasion.
Tommy, good morning to you.
Morning, Jerry. Morning, Shane.
Morning, man.
How are we?
We're good. How are you?
Very good.
That clip of Tommy making Paddy Andrews cry, you're going to cry, aren't you? It was like the X Factor sob stories. Tommy just go on and cry.
I shouldn't have said it, because when I said it I realised there was already a tear rolling down his cheeks. So
you were just thinking of the views.
Yeah, look, it was great to actually record there. I know like it was immediately after full time. There's a lot of emotion. Very hard to process a game straight away. So a lot of that podcast on Sunday is emotion and tributes to Cluxon and McCarthy and Fitzsimons, and it was great. It was great to see that as well. That, you know, we all get caught up in the emotion of it, but I think it's different when it's your teammates or your brothers or your sisters, as you know, players would feel when they're looking out there the big days.
The hand on the shoulder from James O'Donoghue as well.
Yeah.
Classy touch from James. He's a classy guy. Magnanimous in defeat. He held up his hands. He got one or two calls wrong this year.
Desperation.
But hey, lads, it's such fine lines. My God.
Well, it is such fine lines, but it's not fine lines that I like that. I didn't predict that Dublin were going to be the number one about 5 months ago, Tommy. Not such fine lines.
Hands up. Congratulations, Jerry.
Not too late now.
Yeah.
Too late now. You got a lot of nerve to say you are my friend. You just want to be on the side that's winning. That's what Roy Keane was listening to in Saipan, by the way. A little bit of Positively 4th Street from Bob Dylan.
Okay.
There were efforts, weren't there, to get Owen Sheehan on with us this morning, to have a formal, I guess, handover, post-mortem on Kerry, but
I'll ring him here.
Owen's still on the... You're going to ring him?
He's unavailable.
No.
Unavailable for selection. Come here. It was Fitzsimons, Rock, and who was on the pitch there?
McCarthy.
I only heard Ashling's interview with Dean Rock afterwards, just how close Rock and McCarthy are. Rock was talking about he really did not want a replay. I better kick this, because if there's a replay, my wedding's got to be scotched. His wedding is the week after next, I think, and James McCarthy's going to be his best man. That's how close they are. But then, so I was just looking back, because at the end of Dean Rock, we kind of, you know, he hasn't been in the team this year, but his career is absolutely ludicrous, like absolutely sensational. So he won. Where's I've just lost it here. He started his first league match for Dublin in 2015, after which he participated in 63 consecutive league and championship games.
Yeah,
that's insanity.
Yeah, it's remarkable. Yeah.
And so there's going to be a sluicing out of the system. Somebody said to me, in all seriousness, in the pub afterwards on Sunday night, who's a massive, who knows everything about Dublin football, those won't even win Leinster next year. I was like, I mean, what? No. Seriously, straight-faced, full celebration. They're not even going to win Leinster next year. This is the end.
I like... Who knows what's going to happen in the off-season? Like, who could have predicted what happened this year? Like, who could have predicted Mannion and McCaffrey coming back in October? Was it Gilroy in mid-March? Cluxon in late March? It was hard to believe what was going on. And it was such a mental, manic season that it was difficult to process it and to say they're going to do what they're going to do. Like, they didn't just add a little bit extra to the team. Like, that entire All-Ireland was won by Cluxon, Mannion, McCaffrey's impact off the bench, Colin Beskel, who's come back to the panel this year. Like, his second half. Ger, why would any of them leave? Now, it's such a personal decision. Like, there could be any amount of reasons for going. They've done everything. But, like, James McCarthy was going around flaking fellas. That man could do that for another 5 years. Stephen Cluxon was 42. He was kicking 45s and frees from behind. Do you know, like, he got 23 out of 23 kick-outs away. 100% accuracy.
Yeah.
Why would he go? Michael Fitzsimons did a man-marking job in David Clifford and did exceptionally well. He had a very good season all year long. Like, there's no reason that any of them have to go. We don't know what's going to happen in the off season. We have no idea what's going to happen to the Dubs. But Jack McCaffrey, I felt, said it afterwards in his post-match interview at the banquet with Joanne Cantwell. He said, don't make a mistake here. Like, we didn't come back to add another couple of medals to the pockets of lads that were full of them already. We came back here to show the younger lads how to win an All-Ireland. And by God, have we seen just how good those lads are. And he said the next boys coming through are even better than what we were.
That's the point.
It's not true though. They're not better.
No, but you're making the point.
I hope not.
They're not better. If they are better, then we're splitting Dublin in two.
Well,
three.
If they lose Rock, he wasn't playing. If they lose Cluxton, Comerford comes back in. Granted, McCarthy would be, and if someone like Brian Fenton were to leave, or one of those lads who are on the level below the 30 kind of.
Well, there's the 29, 30-year-olds who are that Fenton, Davy Byrne, that era. There's talk that many of them are considering taking a year out at least. And look, I don't know. I mean, maybe they are, and you can totally understand it. Maybe they do what Brian Howard did, and they travel until January, and they come back, and that's what everybody go now.
Get it done.
Even Howard said with you guys yesterday morning how surprised he was when he got back at the standards that he walked into. Now, it's difficult to process it, but what does that say about the Dublin of the last 2 years, you know? And I heard Brian Fenton speaking afterwards as well, and the hurt that they felt over those 2 years of falling short. They lost by a point in 2 All-Ireland semi-finals. The standards couldn't have been that low. No, they could not have been that. They weren't that far away, but it was just obvious that we weren't watching the Dublin that we saw in. Say that felt like 15 yesterday. That All-Ireland final win. They did the right things. They did just enough, and they pulled away going down the stretch. It was a very, very impressive performance from Dublin. I felt like they really went for it. I actually felt in 2019 watching that All-Ireland final, the first one, that history seemed to impinge them a little bit. That was a very young Kerry side in that 2019 All-Ireland final. Cooper was sent off early. Kerry should have won that day. Kerry should have held on that day. And it felt like the weight of that 5 in a row was on that Dublin squad. They were chasing history again yesterday. It was such a motivating factor for so many of those players to see James McCarthy, Mick Fitzsimons and Stephen Cluxton walk up and collect their 9th All-Ireland medal. Do not underestimate how much that hurts Kerry as well. That their 8 All-Ireland winner club has been surpassed. Now in 2020 they were taking level, and now at the Weekenders a new club of 9 All-Ireland winners. So history was there again this weekend. It was unbelievable stuff. It was an unbelievable performance.
Yeah, just there was a number of that Dublin team that maybe, because if you'd said before the game Conor Callan would be held scoreless, a couple of them would have off days, you're thinking, right, this is Kerry's to take, but there's just something about that last 5 minutes of a game, because we often talked about the Dublin third quarter, but both Monaghan and Kerry nullified to a degree that Dublin third quarter in the semi-final and final, and yet towards the very end of the game the experience came back in. Why are you smirking there, Ger?
I'm reading Cavan O'Brien's tweet from the other day. The whole country wanted Dublin to lose today, which makes it just much better. Don't be jealous just because when you open Just Eat, all you see is your local Maxwell Garage deli bleeding culchies.
Nothing wrong with the Maxwell Garages.
Yeah.
It's great to see them winning, Tommy, isn't it? There's a Meath man and Kildare man beside me here as well. You must be both absolutely delighted.
I know, look, yesterday a Kerry Dublin All-Ireland final, all you want is a great game. Kerry, let's not make any bones about it. Kerry have won 38 All-Ireland. You can't be as a neutral, as a neutral yesterday, I just wanted to see a great game.
We didn't get it, Tommy, did we?
It wasn't great, but in the circumstances and with the rain, the tension, the noise. Yeah. Shane, were you in there yesterday?
No, I was watching from home, and you got that sense on TV as well. It was tense, but it wasn't a great game.
Shane, the noise. I don't know what, a Dublin Kerry All-Ireland final, the noise yesterday was something else.
It was, and
it was something else.
So one of the things I was thinking about afterwards was that there were no minor fans there from non-competing counties. Maybe there've been some times where the minor and the senior game are exactly the same under the old provincial system, and so that might have happened before. But everybody was there to see just that game, and there was certainly periods in the second half where it was like the place is shaking.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I was looking, and I obviously it wasn't a great game, a classic, but just that tension, the turnovers, the manic. Like, there was one phase of play, I think the Dublin get a score from it, where McCarthy's going through and he gets turned over. Then they forced the turnover back in the Kerry defence. But then Kerry went it back and they go on attack. And I actually think they missed the chance, or I think it maybe led to the Clifford Fitzsimons free that gets overturned, which leads to a Paul Mannion equaliser at the far end. Like, it was just absolutely insane. It wasn't that, phases of play where, you keep the ball for 3 minutes and be conservative and you hold it and you go slow. It was teams losing the ball, taking chances and turning over. I think the one big difference yesterday, Kerry's quick transition, don't know how I said it there, Kerry's quick transition can come from kicking the football, and they didn't really kick it yesterday. I think they rattled themselves once or twice. Tom Sullivan played the ball to Paul Ganey and it skidded over the end line. But when the Dubs moved it, they moved it through the hands, and they moved so fast through the hands. And I don't think Kerry were doing that as well as Dublin did, and that they suffered massively from that. Because anytime David Clifford shot, it felt like he was shooting from a very difficult angle or under pressure. And one of the things I think he might learn as well, especially against Dublin, when he misses, it's a score. And the noise when he missed, and even if he showed a little bit of frustration, the noise from the Dublin fans, they were giving it. And I think that just sucked the energy out a little bit. So, I don't know, there was one stage, I'll have to watch it back, but Killian Spillane had kicked a brilliant point, and I feel Spillane had another possession, and Spillane should have spun his man. Spillane is just off the bench. He should have backed himself. He should have went for it. Yeah. And he slipped it to Clifford under pressure in the rain, and it just spills out of his hands. Like, there were just moments like that where I just think later on, a Clifford point is worth two there, and I know he probably knew that himself.
And that Spillane point is on 66 minutes, and that was Kerry's first point in 15. So that period from 51 minutes to 66, Kerry don't score until Spillane pops it over.
So their 3-point lead goes to zero.
Yeah,
Dublin, but it's 7-2. Like, Dublin outscored them 7-2 from the 15 minute. It's absolutely, and the amount of influence Jack McCaffrey had on that.
Yeah,
like when you do watch it back, the amount of influence, like Paddy Clifford, I think he had scored the second of his third points when McCaffrey was brought in. Clifford scores another, but then it's a Jack McCaffrey show after that. He's involved in everything. It's just.
So I half think from listening to him that he's not going to stop McCaffrey. So it seemed like he was just having the crack and enjoying it. In a way, do you remember he spoke before about after the drawing game feeling sickened that he had to play again. He'd had it in his head that the whole season was over, and that he couldn't face that, and that was real. But
speaking to Bernard Brogan about that, that was powerful stuff. Talking about the feeling in his stomach at the end of the drawing game, thinking,
can't do this again.
All again.
Yeah. Whereas somebody said he was off in Africa and came back and he was totally rejuvenated, and so I don't know. I mean, I think. If he was to stay and if Mannion was to stay, well then all of a sudden, I mean, as we know, that's a different ball game, and that might convince a few more of them to. I genuinely don't think there's any point speculating over who's going to stay and who's going to go. I think Tommy, we have a long winter ahead of us. What are you talking about?
Especially these couple of days, I think.
You used to produce this show, for God's sake.
I think they're totally elated at the moment, right? And I don't think anyone's walking away this week. But when, Monday Club enters week 2 and they're still going next Monday, and they're looking at the club championship at the weekend, and they're thinking about the jobs they have to go back to and the lives that they have to live, and I just think then they'll start thinking about it in a week or two. I don't think anyone's thinking about it. I think they're all staying now. They're all going for 10 now.
Well, Jack,
which is scary.
Wasn't someone saying Jack McCaffrey's working in a hospital in Galway, so obviously he's travelling back and forth across the country for trainings? I don't know, or people in Clontarf won't want to hear me saying this, but maybe clubs in Galway might be perking their ears up and trying to do a Shane Walsh job in this. But like those players, like that commitment and that work coming across the country for training, like that does take its toll. I'm not saying Jack's going to step aside, but like
it's only 2 hours in the road these days, and it's fine.
I'd never judge somebody for switching clubs because of travel, so let's move on here. Let's keep going.
Wow,
it's not easy. 500 kilometre round trips.
It's not easy being me. You try.
One life, two clubs.
You try having a house in Mayo and one in Brussels and one in Dublin. You try it sometime.
That's the late, isn't it?
So there's no changes to anything, is there?
No, there is. Yeah.
Okay. We got through this.
We don't have to do 33 to I don't want to relitigate Monaghan with Shane here, so let's just go straight to.
If you lose to the eventual winners, do you not go up?
Team 33 or nothing for what it's worth.
No, you don't.
Our final page for the final time this year: Tyrone are 8, Galway are 7, Armagh are 6, Monaghan are 5, Mayo are 4, Derry are 3, Kerry are 2, and Dublin are 1.
Yeah.
Swap the top 2 there. Did you notice that?
That's the only change.
All year Kerry sitting high in Tommy's power rankings. Isn't that right?
No. Galway spent.
Right.
Spent 2 weeks on first.
Yeah. Sprite,
Dublin has spent, I think, I'll have to go through it. I think it's something like 10 out of 16 weeks in second, or something like that. They've been second for a while.
You were the fancy Dans. You were the fancy Dans, Tommy. You were the newspaper on the wall in the Dublin dressing room. Or like that. Those.
I don't think so. There could have been a quote from James Donoghue hanging up there, but I don't think it was the power rankings, to be honest. Yeah, like Jerry, you called it. I think it was back in April you called it, and I think it's easy to call it when you're sitting where you were.
Oh, what?
But when you've got
it's easy to be correct, is it? And you were incorrect.
When you've got all the pie charts and the stats on the walls here around me, and you're trying to figure out the algorithm. Kerry were All-Ireland champions, and they were still All-Ireland champions.
Paralysis by analysis. That's what
Dean Rock got free in the 76th minute and went right down to the wire. So we had a good go of it with the power rankings this year. I would say we had a good go of it.
You tried your best. You got a few things wrong, certainly.
I think we had a good season, lads. I think we had plenty of good discussions, good conversations. And, I was hoping Owen Sheehan would be here for the official handover, but best of luck with that fella next year, because I had 5 years trying to produce him, and that was a bloody disaster. So.
He's both approach it in very different ways as well. Like the methods are completely different.
Yeah, Owen makes it very personal.
Owen's messages have basically dried up over the last 24 hours. I had no idea what part. We were actually getting more dispatches when he was in deepest, darkest Peru than we've got since he's been back in Kerry.
Yeah, well, I was actually with him. I know you experienced the match with him on Sunday. I experienced the post-match debrief, and the Shahens are a great clan. They're all fairly upbeat, they were like, look at, we feel like we had our chances and we didn't take them, so fair play to the Dubs, and they were all in good spirits. I haven't heard from them since, so I don't know whether the Monday Blues kicked in the next day and they started realising the opportunity that they let slip, just like 2019.
There was a definite I was down in the Sheehan house in Farnfore, or the Fire East, last week, and lovely breakfast, lovely spread put up by Carmel, and like the confidence in the house. There was an air of confidence. One of the Kerry jersey out, they have a big mosaic on the wall of the I guess conservatory or part of the kitchen. And Jerry, you're on it. I'm on it.
Oh, really?
There's a photo of yourself and Owen chatting to the family on air last year. And there's a photo of myself in my Galway jersey with Owen in his Kerry jersey before the All Ireland last year. And it's emotional. It's all the league games. It's the family. There's basically a shrine to Kerry football in the house. Like,
hold on a second. They named their only daughter Kerry.
Yeah.
So I think that says it all. No, look, if you're a Kerry person, how could you not be like David Clifford said after the game in the post-match banquet, and I saw some Dublin people take offence to this, and I didn't really read into it. He said, thanks for all the support this year. We're sorry for not getting the job done. Sorry to the management, sorry to Jack, we let you down. Hopefully next year we can right those wrongs. They feel like they have an official birthright to winning All Irelands, and they bloody well do. They're always in the mix. There are peaks and troughs, but Kerry are always in the mix. And somebody said it yesterday, when Dublin aren't winning All Irelands, that's when we should be asking questions. They have the biggest population, they have the deepest pockets. They should be there nearly every year. It's every other county that are trying to get there, that are trying to break up those two. 31 and 38. That's what, 69, is it? It's a lot of All-Ireland titles.
Nice.
Over the last 140-ish years, is it? My maths are kind of falling short here. It's a lot of All-Ireland titles.
Where's Owen when you need him? He would have got that.
Yeah.
I got it.
So
I got it too.
Who is going to stop next year? I don't think all the Dubs are coming back. I think, while you're saying no point speculating, certainly there was a last dance bang off a lot of this, and I suspect that when the bodies are sore and the mind clears in 2 weeks' time, they'll be like, my hole is sickened, I can't do this again, I'm finished. I've literally climbed every single mountain that history has built for us. There are no more mountains. There are no more mountains.
There are no more mountains.
Henry Shefflin is 10. I'm sorry, I don't actually care. Like, fair play to him, that's incredible.
Yeah.
My 9 are amazing, and all the 8s.
Yeah, and Rena Buckley has 11, so there's always one more to go.
Yeah,
you know?
then there's a bunch of 8s. Like, does Rena Buckley not have 20 between the?
Oh, she could actually have way more. Yeah, she's way more. Football titles. She's 11.
So look, I don't know. I'd be very surprised, and I wouldn't be terribly surprised if there's like a new management team who come in with and there are a new core of young dubs who are coming through, and then it's John Small and Paddy Small's team and Collie Pascal and who knows who's left at the end of that. But that's why I think
it was 18.
18, sorry, it's close. I think that's why stopping Kerry this year was hugely important, because Kerry could easily just have got on a roll, and all of a sudden, like, if Kerry had won this and all the dubs were retiring next year, you'd be like, ooh, Kerry have gone back to back.
Michael Foley said it in his Sunday or in his RT montage at the end of the game. This wasn't about stopping 2 in a row for Kerry. This was about stopping 3 in a row in 2024. Like, that was part of it. Like, you know, Kerry went 2 All-Irelands, David Clifford went 2. Who's stopping them next year?
Nobody.
Like, as you said, the lads who came back, the dubs, like, imagine the deflation they feel after putting everything into it, getting everything back on track, all the energy, all the emotion, all the secrecy to come back, you know? And then they fall short at the last minute because of David Clifford scores a wonder score from the Cusick and a wonder score from the Hogan. Like, that easily could have happened yesterday.
Yeah.
Such fine lines. Imagine Clifford rattled the back of the net with that chance when he went for goal. Do you know, like, imagine Gavin White, instead of going backwards, used the unbelievable pace he had to burst through. There must have been something wrong with him. There must have been something wrong with Gavin White, because even his chase back afterwards, maybe it just dawned on him when he was looking at the hill that there was a goal happening here. But, like, even his chase back isn't 100%. You know, like...
But even then, I'm not
imagine Paul Murphy slid and missed the ball and Shane Ryan saved it. Such fine lines.
Or it goes wide. It could easily have gone wide.
Yeah. Such fine lines. And the Dubs grabbed that game by the throat towards the end, and they strangled the life out of it, as they have done in 16 and 17 to Mayo, as they have done so many times throughout the last couple of years. They're an unbelievable team, and as you said, they've climbed every mountain they possibly can. Please just go away now.
Yeah, retire. Come here. Who's actually next?
Well,
in your pecking order. I don't think Mayo are there.
Don't
at all,
laugh.
to be honest.
Don't laugh at me. But like, Pádraig Joyce, the continuity of staying on. Like, is Cian O'Neill going to stay? You had a very good conversation with Cian O'Neill. It was great to hear it the last day. If they can keep their team together, if they can continue, there are footballers in Galway. There's plenty more coming through. They're building a group there. They have depth. It all slipped away so quickly this year against Armagh in the last couple of minutes. They ended up drawing Mayo in the pot, and Mayo caught them in Salt Hill. But Sean Kelly and Damien Comer injured. Their two best footballers not right, and Mayo bet them.
Silk not playing as well.
Silk wasn't there. Silk was never going to be back this year. But there's Sean McCairns, Kieran Malloy. There's so many good footballers in Galway. And do you know what? The likes of David Clifford and Shane Walsh and Conor Glass need a bloody break. They're probably not going to get it for a while. I hope their clubs don't do well this year. Those lads look spent towards the end of the All-Ireland Championship. Sean Kelly too. They had such long years last year, and they were going into a chaotic, crazy championship. I hope a lot of these players come back refreshed next February or March, and we get to see them properly in action, because I do think Galway are going to be the mix. I do think Derry, who's going to be the new manager? Derry, is Kieran Meena going to stay in there? Is somebody new going to come in? Shane, your good friend Malachy O'Rourke, is he going to be hanging around Derry? I don't know what's going to happen there. Do you know, is there a chance that Derry come in and they're actually bring through some of these under-20s and minors and they freshen up what they've got? Because Derry have hit a level that is so impressive. I do think that they can go another level or two. So I think Derry could be in the mix. They could definitely do with a fresh start there. Galway, Derry, Kerry. What's going to happen in Mayo?
Kerry are favourites, right?
What's going to happen in Mayo? It's going to be interesting.
As we sit here today.
And let's not forget the the 5th ranked team in the power rankings, Monaghan. Where are they going to be next year, Shane? Tell me, where are Monaghan going to be next year?
Well, if they're in the final, they'll be 3rd in the power rankings. That's all I can tell you.
No, where are Monaghan going to be next year?
I think well, Vinnie Corey's first year as we move on. We'll ask Conor McManus tomorrow in studio. Do you know?
Oh, brilliant.
Well,
look, I'm looking forward to that. Fantastic.
That'll be good. But Meath, of course, Talton Cup champions next year. Is that we had the Galway 98 team getting the centenary celebration, or not centenary, but the commemorations of
greatest day ever
years.
for Kildare fans in Croker on Sunday. Oh, yay. Dublin winning again. Hooray. 98. Magic. Hey.
Before next year's final, that's 1999, 25 years on. Meath. So we've got the great Meath team coming on before next year's final. Looking forward to that, Tommy.
Do you know what that says to me, Shane? 25 years is a bloody long time for a county like Meath to leave All Ireland's go. Like, for what they had built for those 20 years. So hopefully
Isn't it
they get a bounce.
Isn't it Ashburn GAA Club's fault?
I'm not talking about that.
All right.
What's that about?
I'm not talking about that, because I will not be allowed back into the county of Meath if I say what I feel. I cannot say what I feel. I cannot
hear.
Go on.
I don't even know what you're talking about.
Go on.
If I speak,
I'm in trouble. Go on, give me a hint of what you're talking about.
Celebrate it, but like, just, I don't know, do it somewhere else. Like, come on. There was word that they didn't even show the Tailteann Cup final in the clubhouse. I don't know. I don't want to think about it. I don't want to talk about it. But if Meath can take, and Cavan and Westmeath did it in the All Ireland series. Cavan didn't get the bounce. Meath need to get the bounce, because there are fantastic young footballers coming through in Meath, and they need to continue that upward curve. And they would have got confidence from that performance in Croke Park. They've taken so many whoopings there in big days. So hopefully it is a winter in Meath where they're building on what they have, and there'll be loads of counties like that, loads of them.
Ashburn GAA Club was taken over by the locals, who are all wearing their Dublin jerseys, supporting the Dubs.
Oh, at the weekend?
Yeah. And there was a rumour, we have yet to stack it up, that perhaps they didn't show the Tailteann Cup final in the clubhouse. Maybe it was shown, but maybe it wasn't under supported. I don't know. But certainly this is the Dublification of South Meath and North Kildare continues apace.
Jesus. We will approach Ashburn GAA, of course, for comment.
We will.
We have to.
Yeah.
You should. Yeah, go for it.
Tommy, you
Get
came.
Credit Union on too when you're at it.
You came, you saw, you conquered, certainly Monaghan anyway.
We had a bit of crack, lads, to be fair.
It was very enjoyable.
We had good fun, and thanks to everybody who engaged and abused me all year long. And there was plenty of people who I think enjoyed the conversations we had. Got a great shout out in the Indo last week too.
Well, you allow the rest of us to get abuse as well, Tommy, because anytime any of us are out and about, we get abuse for the power rankings, even though we have absolutely no say over it. It's your decisions allow us to get abuse.
That's fair, Shane.
So thank you.
I apologise for that. Now you have poured petrol on the fire a couple of times this year.
I have. Well, you could have fixed it. You know how, but sure.
No fixing.
I'm looking forward to normal service being resumed next year and the power rankings.
I know you are. Yeah. And then, hey, he deserves it. See you, lads. Thank you.
Cheers, Tommy.
See you, boys. Bye.
Tommy Rooney there, who's dead to us now. It's 9:36.
Never to be seen again.